Whether you're a suburban athlete or an Olympic champion, you've got to work hard to get results. We've put over 15 years experience into developing Active Man, combining vitamins, minerals and proteins. Active Man helps provide you with the nutrients you need to optimize performance and assist recovery. Discover the Active Man range, now available. Active Man, power up.
Good afternoon, welcome to this live. This will be featured on the Power Progress podcast and also will be out on YouTube just tomorrow actually, but we're actually doing it Instagram live right now. So I'm waiting for 3 amazing guest speakers. That is Emma Goodman, that is Daniel Remington and also Marvin Ambrosius. So I'm going to slowly allow them to come in nice and gradually. And then obviously from there, we're going to open with the conversation. And that is all about Instagram versus reality. And obviously we'll see where this conversation goes. So I'm just going to click on here to see if anyone's requested to come in. So I'm just going to give you a wave. So that's Daniel coming in first. So let's bring him in. Yeah, so that should slowly come through.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, Instagram.
How's things? You good?
Hello.
Hello. How's things? You alright?
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you not hear me? Is that on my end or yours? So let me just see if I can bring anyone else in. So there's another request there. So let's accept Emma coming through. And there's also Marvin. So let's bring you all in. And there's... Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
I can hear you fine.
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh. Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I just got back from hospital and I'm now having to walk the dog, so you have to bear with me. Because I think my dog wants to eat another dog. So yeah, I'm here in person. Doing my best to happen. So well, this is reality versus Instagram. You see, if this is
that's reality right there.
This is true reality here.
It sure is. Well, I'll tell you where we can start because obviously we're all on myself. So let's start with introducing each of you, and you can introduce yourself. So let's start with Emma Goodman. Obviously, talk about on camera what sort of moves you do, who you help, and we take it from there.
Oh my goodness, it sounds like it's proper live, isn't it? I love this. Okay, so I'm obviously Emma, and I run an Insta account that's called Emma G, because obviously I'm Emma G Goodman, and that's how we came up with that name. I started off running boot camps locally for all ages, shapes and sizes, she says. And then suddenly, as we all did, or well, me personally, found myself going on live on Facebook and Insta during the wonderful COVID times. So my whole kind of concept of what I did do beforehand to what I'm doing now is very, very different. But I do actually love the virtual world as well, ish. But I know we're going to come on to that later. And obviously I'm delighted to be part of Team Biosynergy and to have met the awesome Marvs and Daniel and you as well. So that's nice. Me.
Do you know, with your tag, I actually thought it was Emma G, as in you give so much energy, because that's what I always get from you, is this high energy. So, actually, yeah, I'm glad you explained that.
Yeah, it's quite funny. My kids said, "Oh, you're a bit like Honey G," and I was like, "Seriously? No.
Don't let
it's Emma G, as in Emma G, and loads of Emma G, but it just so happens to be my name as well, so it's quite handy."
Nice. Thanks for that. Thanks for that intro. And Marvin, what about yourself?
I'm Marvin Ambrosius. I created a workout program called Fit in 5, to which you can see on Sky Television. Also as well, I work as a fitness coach on the Eat Shop Save show. I help to provide fitness and easy life fitness and measurable and achievable fitness for people, I'd say between the ages of 10 upwards to 60, 70 plus. I don't discriminate on demographic. I just want to get everybody moving. and everybody living a lifestyle that is realistic, measurable, and achievable. And that's me. I'm Marvin Ambrosius.
Oh, nice. And Daniel, yourself?
So I've actually just arrived back in the gym office with the dogs. See the signs there. The dogs are going to need a little bit more love, I think. But I'm really delighted to be here, having just literally walked out of the hospital. So, and also I'm really grateful to have so many great people on this panel, I guess, for want of a better word, particularly as I haven't seen some of you for so long. So, big hi. So in terms of who I am, what we do, so all of you on the team at least will hopefully know us for being innovators in the sports and health and nutrition space. For those who don't know us, I started the company back in '97, and my goal was to create a range of sports and health and nutritional products that would help everybody. And most recently, we've innovated and launched DNA and epigenetic testing to really help people, guide them through their fitness and life journey, which we feel there's so much. I mean, I know obviously the topic's going to be live versus Insta, and I think that one of the things that has become apparent, so crazily, I started this business before Google existed, which most people probably watching, they can't even remember pre-Google world.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to find out something, you had to go to a library or ask somebody who was more intelligent than you. Now you go on to Instagram or wherever, type in whatever it is, you're going to be bombarded with information. And unlike with a library where you know the source of that information and the quality of it, or the person that you're speaking to, this is all unknown. So for me, what has been kind of scary is how much misinformation there has been around getting healthy and fit. And what we wanted to do with the DNA and epigenetics was kind of demystify all of that and give people the ability to make it happen. So I really have the opportunity to talk about life versus real life versus Insta life. So thanks guys for the opportunity.
Brilliant. And then I'm Nathan Honus, busy lifestyle coach, and I'm really all about trying to get someone who's really busy to just focus on themselves rather than everything else. And quite nice little quick nutshell for me. And I'm based up in the northeast, although I sound southern. I've lived up here for about 15 years. And I do a balance of in-person and online as well. In fact, these days I actually went back more in person because I missed it that much. I don't know about yourselves, but I miss that human contact of doing all the apps and all stuff like that. And I've kind of went more back to doing one-to-one, which I absolutely love, which obviously that's what I got from, if you like, being on lockdown. It made me realise the basic stuff and appreciate it a little bit more. But while we're here, I think it's a great opportunity to obviously really hound in on obviously the advantages and disadvantages of, we're talking about Instagram versus reality. So where do you think would be best to start from? What do you reckon, Marvin?
I think just starting with the misconception of what fitness looks like in body shape, what it looks like in aesthetics, because you can look good, but you might not be fit. And I think it's the myth between people telling you to do something to look like something when actually they just look like that anyway, but they're not actually doing what you're supposed to do. So I guess it's demystifying the training against what you actually can look like instead of doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And with some of this as well, like some of these may look that way, but sometimes they perceive that they don't even look that way. They're just using all these special filters and stuff like that. So I suppose that could be really hard for someone from the outside looking at these amazing physiques. And how achievable is it? You know, it's that side of it as well, isn't it?
Well,
it's really tough. And just as the lady on the team here, and I'm not saying you guys aren't worried about your looks and your bodies, because clearly you all look flipping awesome, but you do all work really hard for it. I think from my perspective, especially as a slightly older lady, I won't use the word mature, but my previous conception of Insta before I came on here was that it was all about people kind of showing how great they look, the filters, you had the hot bods, you didn't have any real people promoting themselves and what they did. So it kind of seemed unachievable. And I think where certainly the main demographic that I kind of work with tend to be mainly women aged 35 to 65, just very generally. And those guys, some of them have real issues with self-esteem, with body confidence, but they're bloody fit. And, you know, and they're strong and they commit, and they kind of, I think the positive side of what happened with lockdown with someone like me, who they already knew, bobbing around and suddenly having to transition to going virtual and live, where my crew certainly went, oh my God, I know that's Em, that's cool, I can relate to that. I know that she's going to be sweating as much as I can. She knows what I can do, can't do. And I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. It used to look so unachievable. I think there's a slight boundary now, but it does concern me as a female. I mean, you get judged. I mean, I went through hell going virtual with people that didn't know me, that would then suddenly criticize what I was doing or how I looked. You know, they didn't know my history. You're just taking one snapshot, aren't you?
Yeah. So would you say the whole lockdown scenario actually helped the likes of yourself in that sense?
Yeah, I think certainly for me, I started mainly on Facebook because that's where my crew were, and that's how I used to communicate through to them. So my first, you know, sort of 15 weeks was basically all Facebook lives every single morning, because guess what, we had nothing else to do, so everybody was training with me and they loved it, and it was really great. So it has helped me, and I've now got 2 audiences, but I think had I gone live without a community behind me already, I would have really struggled. I wouldn't have known how to kind of present myself other than me, and I think I felt safer going with people watching me that already knew me rather than going out to the big world.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel, on your point of view with your business, how much do you feel likes of Instagram, for example, is really leveraged by synergy?
I think it's difficult because I think, you know, we have a look, you know, like I'm going back a bit, you know, in the old days, Instagram, Facebook launch, you got a lot of organic reach. So if you had followers, most of those followers would know, like today, or going live, and they would get an automatic notification of that, and you'd get that kind of engagement. I think obviously as the model has changed for Facebook and it's become more of a pay-to-play model, genuine engagement has probably gone down because of the fact that even your people that are following you, and it might be, you know, 100,000, 10,000, even 1 million, don't necessarily you don't necessarily appear in feed unless you're paying to get involved. The other problem that has happened is that because of the growth of influencer, and I think there's a place for that, you know, we see amazing things happen on social. So one of our other team, you know, Ivan, his son had a heart operation, and to cut a long story short, he posted something about he should be a member of the Avengers, and before you knew it, all the Avengers Hollywood guys jumped in on it and was sending him love, and that's the beauty of social. I think where it goes wrong, and also, you know, there's other positive things. That's just one that, you know, I know of personally that's happened. I think the problem is people are making a career out of being an influencer without necessarily understanding, you know, to use the Spider-Man thing, with great power comes great responsibility. Sometimes people use their position, not intentionally, possibly unintentionally, irresponsibly, to promote products or services that may not be suitable for an audience, let alone the audience that they're targeting. More often than not, if they're professional influencers, they're often going to go to whoever's paying the check, a lot of attention to what it is that they're getting a check for, which is why we've never kind of gone down that route. So I think that there's a good thing in that it's kind of given people accessibility to people like Emma and Marvin and yourself to see what you're doing, and you're real people really doing it. And, you know, you've all, well, certainly I know from Marvin and Nathan's point of view, you've gone through massive physical transformations yourself, backwards and forwards, I guess. And I know, Emma, you've got a lot of clients that share their stories. So I know it's genuine and authentic. I think what's scary is when you have people who, you know, maybe for one day of a year have got a 6-pack, they take 100 photos and then they're posting that for the next 5 years,
Yeah.
think that actually that's what they look like all the year round, and they've some kind of crazy workout or supplement or something that they've promoted on the back of it, and neither of those things are real. And then it, potentially, the worst thing is from a mental health point of view, it sets up an expectation for somebody that something which is truly unachievable through the promoted, and they end up spiraling in a really negative way. So I think if done right, Instagram and other social media platforms can be a real force for good and motivation. And I just think we've just got to be wary, and particularly people viewing it need to understand that you need to look beyond the picture to what is really going on behind the scenes. So a bit a monologue there.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. And when it comes to, say, the people making it online, for example, I'm going to go at this angle. I've seen some really top trainers try to make it online and haven't made it. And I've seen some, let's just say, only just come into the industry trainers, and they've made it big. And it's because I feel their background has come from, say, a marketing background, and they've at least had a good standpoint how they look physically. And because they're that mindset that they're very good at pushing marketing, they've managed to go further than someone who's very experienced as a personal trainer, who just want to, make a difference, but they haven't got the marketing, if you like, expertise, or haven't got, and in some ways, they haven't got that desire to want to do it that way. I often find it's a bit unjust that you get someone who's just come out of the packet doing better, who's someone's very experienced, and I feel that's sometimes a bit of a downfall with this side of things,
Yeah, well, I think social media is probably the only place where you get rewarded as much doing the wrong thing as doing the right thing. And it's quite funny how you'd see an account that's getting all the comments, everybody's talking about it, but you actually look at what they're posting and it's actually terrible. And like you said, there's someone who's saying all the right things that's not getting any engagement. But then it's the game, like Daniel was saying, we're playing a game now of marketing where you're fighting against somebody who's paying for promotion. You're not paying for promotion. The algorithm's pushing you more because you're paying them for the service. And I said this years ago, and I've had this conversation with Daniel. I said, it's going to become a race again. Who's going to be paying to be seen? Right? Because you've got to look at it like this now. When social media first became big, there was influencers, the blue ticks, all these things happened. But what it all comes down to, in the next 5 years, there's going to be so many people that have millions of followers. Who are we actually going to listen to? Who is going to be the person of profession? It's going to come down to who do we actually like? I think it's going to be who do I actually take to, who comes, actually listens and talks my language. But unfortunately, that gets cut through because people then, it gets reinforced by television, where they'll then say, let's go find the biggest fitness influencer and speak to them, and then they'll go on television. But they're the influencer you were talking about. That's the person that got the marketing, got in there big, but they don't have the knowledge and the know-how. They don't have the experience. And it's quite unbelievable to see somebody online and realize they've not even actually taught physically more than 2 classes. Like they haven't interacted with people personally or actually been through people's journeys or been through the journey themselves. But I think it's important to realize that at some point, people can seep through the crap and then they can find what works for them. Because I think what I found in social media, I got quite lucky. Social media is not my bag. People think that it's not me. I'm like, I like to do things, but my thing was television first. I kind of went there first. So I did the opposite way around, where people
went to the top first, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't come down to where it filtered to social media, because that just wasn't what I was trying to do. I could have done it, where now I look back at it and gone, I could have just posted every day, 5 times a day after that, and it would have done it. But ultimately, what's the audience I'm trying to reach? It's not the people that are living on social media. It's the people that I see in a face-to-face basis. So it's kind of looking for the market. Do you want to be internet famous, or do you want to actually help people?
I think
it's a really tough lesson though, and I know Marv and I've met and I talked to you about it loads, and saying, oh my god, I haven't got millions of followers, I'm really small in the mass of the fitness pond. I'm tiny, but Marv, you believed in me hugely. But I said, but your engagement with the people that you're doing and you're real, don't go and chase that, because I have to be brutally honest, because we are being honest in life. It was really daunting, because all of a sudden I was getting all these people saying, why haven't you got more followers yet, Ems? Why aren't you doing this? And then you're comparing yourself to another, you know, fitness person that's going live on screen, and you're thinking, shoot, they've got loads, I must be doing something wrong. And I went through a real journey, and it knocked my confidence massively, because I did think I need to be chasing the numbers. And then when I suddenly looked and thought, actually, no, this isn't my business. I have to understand that, you know, Insta doesn't make me money. And if I was being brutally honest, it doesn't. The thing that makes me, because I am a business, you know, is the engagement with my clients. It's the recommendation. It's, you know, the continual return. It's the results. You know, my 3 R's are what brings me back down. And I had to kind of stop that whole chasing the numbers, posting every day, doing everything erratically. And let's be really honest, it takes bloody time to do the whole social stuff. It's like, oh my God, it's exhausting. And I couldn't keep up. So I'm really happy I'm in that balance that, you know, I would never say I was an influencer at all. It scares me when people are buying for followers, and I see what's happened with that situation. And I'm like, I don't get it. I do get it, but I don't get it.
There was someone's commented, Jordan Shuttlewood said, so true, it's about personality as well. You also need to have multiple platforms to grow your brand. So that's someone who's just commented. But when you go, just to go back about the followers, because that's a big factor, and bit of realisation for me. I remember back in, I think it was Beachbody, when I won Beachbody, which was in 2015. Daniel was when I first met Daniel, really, wasn't it, around 2000?
On the beach?
On the beach.
Yeah, that's really good. I've got loads of these, if you like, fitness feeds wanting to share my picture. So anyway, I shared this picture, and I've got all these followers come in. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I thought, oh, I should be booming off now. I should get all these people commenting. Got nothing. And then from there, I started doing more research, and I went, oh, well, you've got these companies who can give you all these engagement things and get more people. So then I started paying these different companies, getting all these followers in and getting all these comments. And then all of a sudden over the years, it was obviously growing. And then what started happening is, you know, years down the line, I might have had all these followers, but then all of a sudden I was getting no engagement whatsoever. So, you know, when I reflect back, I'm now, every sort of opportunity I've got, I'm deleting bots of my followers constantly. Because, I mean, I'm not fully educated in this, but apparently how it goes is when you do...
what you just said. You deleting bots off your followers?
Like
because they're not real people. They're not actually real people.
Sorry.
So apparently how it works, I mean, you can correct me on this, but if you do a post, it reaches 10 of your followers, and then they've got to do something for it then to reach 10 of their followers.
Yeah.
But let's just say I'll get 10 bots.
It reaches no one.
Cut.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm suffering from having so many followers based on the actions I took. We're probably not being educated, we're being fairly new at the time. And now, so going back to what Emma was saying, you're right, it's not about the followers now. It's more about the engagement and who you're reaching the message to, and if you're getting them right people back. And I've got the opposite, where I'm trying to get rid of these wasted accounts because it's killing my engagement.
Oh, bless you. But at least you've been honest about it, Nathan, because, you know, and I think that's what it is about, isn't it? You've gone through a totally different journey. You kind of thought, oh, this is what I need to do, and you're not educated about it, and it kind of goes back to, it's gone into such a spiral, this Insta world now, isn't it? People don't know how to use it properly. And going back to what Daniel said originally, from a buyer's and in a consumer's perspective, who do you trust? What do you follow? Everybody's just following people based on numbers, and it's driving me potty. But I just hope, you know, we can kind of get it back. And I think it's about your, you know, your own understanding of, as long as we keep true to ourselves and we know what we're doing and we're helping at least one person a day make a difference, then that was my kind of grounding. Go back to your ethos, Em. Stop chasing this thing doesn't exist that you think exists out there. That's my honest opinion.
I mean, I think it will eventually go back to that. People want to see real content and they want true, real people. I like to think with humanity, it will start going more towards that way in time. It's just going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
I mean, the other interesting thing, I was lucky enough to go to an event last week, the Women's Sport Alliance event, and it was surrounded by women who've achieved amazing things in sport, Olympians, Paralympians. Wow. And if you look at most of them, they've only got a few thousand followers.
Yeah.
But in terms of what they're achieving, they're the top half of 1% in the world in their chosen discipline. And the reason why is they're not wasting time on social media. So, I've got to think about, if somebody's got those massive numbers and they're posting all the time, somebody's being paid to do it for them, in which case it's not really authentic, or that's all they're doing, which means they can't really be doing all the stuff that they say they're doing.
They haven't got a life.
They can make their own choices, and what's right for A doesn't necessarily have to be right for B. But I do think that, from my experience, some of the best coaches, athletes, physios, don't necessarily have that kind of social media footprint that one would expect. Even within swimming, I can't remember the guy's name. He won 6 medals at the Commonwealth Games in swimming, and I think he's got like 20,000 followers. But he's now the #1 swimmer in the whole wide world.
Wow. Yeah.
Will never be beaten in my lifetime. So again, I think this comes back to the thing that you've got to be careful about who you put on a pillar to guide you in your life and in your fitness journey.
Well, like you said, it's funny. I think with social media, I always said that the word followers should be changed to watchers, because you should choose to either watch someone or follow them. Like, because we all here, like you said, if you're busy, you don't have time to follow someone. Like it's like, I'm not going to wait for you to post. I'm not like, it's not that deep. That's why they created the bell, like for YouTube, because it's like, oh, I can't wait to see a post. Like 99% of the people that will follow someone on every single year when Love Island comes on, they're not following them, they're watching them. Yeah. It's like it's the popularity. If they're in your head, you see an advert every single day, oh, I might as well follow them because everybody else is following. It's like the psychology behind, I always say this all the time. I've got 3 Instagram accounts. One of them is for my basketball account, one of them is a fitness app account, and one of them is me personally. If I send a DM from my Marvin basketball account, I will get a minimum response based on the fact that it's new and it hasn't got a lot of followers. But when I send it from my Marvin Ambrosius account, I get an immediate response. And I'm the same person. So it just goes to show you the research of the other person that's there. They automatically just saw the following. They didn't see the person. And you can miss out on such great opportunities. Like you just mentioned with the swimmer. I interviewed both Commonwealth Games winners for basketball who both got gold medals on the weekend. And they have less than 5,000 followers between some of them. And again, does it matter? No, they've got gold medals. Like, I wouldn't trade. You're not going to trade 1 million followers for a gold medal, because you can't buy that. It's not something that you can't get it. You could buy 1 million followers if you want to, but you can't buy a gold medal that you achieved it and learned it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important that we just look at it from an extensive. I always tell my daughter and my son, like, never worry about who's following you. Worry about the people that you care about, and the people that really care about you know you. You can phone me. I'm still old school like that. If you can't phone me, then we're at a distance. I'll give my number to people that I want to speak to. And if you can see me online, that's absolutely fine. But I like to talk to everybody that messages me. It's important that if someone reaches out to me, I am going to message you back. But that's just my nature, because I want to make sure you're helped. And it doesn't always have to be a paid thing. It's like sometimes someone just asks a question and I just feel like, do you know what? I need to reach out to them. Before I go in this bit, I had a bit of a rant the other day. I got a bit upset. I'm not going to mention the names of the people, but lately I've been getting loads of forced ads to my account from celebrities. Not Chris Hemsworth. I'm not going to say him because I give him a pass on fitness. But there's a lot of celebrities now joining the fitness wagon that are literally nothing to do with fitness. It's literally nothing to do with it. And their lives are getting the craziest amount of people joining. And I'm like, are you joining for the workout? Are you actually just joining to be on there because they might interact with you? So I did a little bit of research, and most people want to go on there so they can type, so that person might say something back to them and they get a dopamine release. It's not actually the workout. It's the dopamine release for them to feel like, oh my God, they said my name. And you're just kind of like you said, what are we using the influence for? Like, it's like, you got to know your lane. You got to stay in it. If I'm doing a workout on a live, 99% of the people that run it are going to do it. And the people that aren't doing it actually message me and say, Marv, I'm not doing it, but I'm watching you right now because I feel like I need to do it. And they'll say it because that's my audience. And it's important that we look at it like that and just kind of just brush it off. Like I said to you, Emma G, like, it is what it is. You've got a business model that people would die for. And even if your account failed tomorrow and you didn't have an Instagram account, your business is still running. Same as mine, same as Nathan's, same as Daniel's. Our businesses will actually probably make the same amount of money. It doesn't change. It's just that certain opportunities come, certain opportunities don't. But the most reliable thing is that is the fact that all of you guys are authentic in what you do.
Yeah, I think you're right, Marv. Do you know what? If we can bottle what you just said, it would be.
We just did.
I have. I've just literally. It's in there. It's in here. But you're absolutely right. You've got to stop. I had to learn. I can't use Insta. Isn't part of my business. It's just a platform. It's just a bit of presence. You know, it's great fun sometimes. You know, the whole Insta lives when we were doing lockdown, I really found fun because I knew everybody that was coming, jumping on there, and it gave me awesome opportunities. Hence meeting you guys. So, you know, that to me is what's happened in my world. And yeah, my business is still running. And actually, you know, no money has come from Insta for me. So it's not a business tool. And I think that's the key thing. The one other point that going back to your original thing, and it just happened to me recently about training people online and all these new bodies that are coming on without experience. I think one of the hardest things training online is the risk of injury for those people because you're not with them and you're not seeing them. And recently I ran like a little summer offer for my guys, and I got a few new bods on board who I hadn't trained with before. And you still have to do your parkies with these guys. You still have to have that call with them. You still have to know, oh God, shit, they had a knee operation 2 years ago. And I've had 3 people that have come to me recently that have been with another online person and have had horrific injuries based on what they've been trying to do at home in their living room with the weights, with a something else. And you're like, that's the bit that concerns me, that I think a lot of people might now be put off getting fitter, stronger, because they're only relying on the screen thing. And the screen is just ticking a box for some people because they already know how to do it.
Exactly.
So that's kind of my biggest rant at the moment, is to say, you know, spot the technique. You know, I'm a nightmare with going, technique is this and da 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 da, and we always have this chat. Is it knees, toes forward, toes out? You know, and everybody keeps changing what we're doing. But that's why we do what we do, because we want to get results.
I think you look at what's happened with Peloton and others. I think, you know, when we were in lockdown, they provided a service that wasn't available. But what you can see has happened now is that people want this one-to-one personalized experience, which you can't. However good these platforms are, and they do play a role in the total kind of fitness universe, nothing replaces that one-to-one physical relationship with somebody where by, you know, all of us look like the same height on Instagram.
I'm really not.
You're probably the same age, but there's probably, you know, I'm the oldest by some margin.
I don't think you are, Daniel. I think you're being very kind there.
I think I probably. All right, we won't get into a.
We don't need to go there.
On a screen, we look very different in reality. And also, the other thing, you know, going back to our DNA thing, more often than not, when you ask them to fill in a question, inadvertently, we always kind of smooth over the truth a little bit. How tall are you? You probably add an inch. How much do you weigh? You probably take off 5 kilos. How old? how often do you exercise? You probably add a day or two. So all of a sudden, if you're purely doing that from an online perspective, you as a trainer are on the back foot because you're not working with correct information, and the client inadvertently has set you in a position where they can't achieve the goal they're looking for by giving you some information might not be 100% accurate. So, I think everything, all of these things have a role to play, but I think they're a supporting role. The main act should always be meeting that person and having that one-to-one, even if you then move online afterwards. But I think that initial physical relationship is really key to success for everybody.
Yeah, it is. Ultimately, it's down to engagement. And I know Marv and I are very similar, where you run your closed Insta group, don't you? Which you even did before you were online, before all of us jumped online. You build that relationship because the effort goes into those that group that are actually with you. And I now spend a hell of a lot more time interacting with my close kind of Facebook group crew who are paying me a monthly subscription to be with me, to work out. They're the ones that are messaging me about their aches and pains. They're the ones I jump on FaceTime calls with. They're the ones that I'm putting the effort into, because that's who needs it. The Insta's just almost like the facade of this is what you can do. So of course you've got to use it as a sales tool and a marketing tool to promote what you're doing, because ultimately you could get that business in. But it's tough because, like, for you, Daniel, I just think, the DNA thing for me was an utter game changer. And I know that you've helped me massively, and a couple of my clients have come to you personally. And I think that is the other thing as well, isn't it? It's saying, between all of us, we're sticking to our ethoses and we're sticking to our guts, and hopefully, and it's certainly already paying dividends, and I hope it will do in the future as well.
Yeah. Is there any final thoughts from us before we wrap it up? Is there anything that pops in your head before we go?
Well, if it pops into my head, I want to do a proper live, not Insta live. Dan, I think you need to do a little biosynergy team workout that we can do. That's my kind. Now we can get together, and I reckon we've got like a showcase within us. What do you think?
I think that's amazing. And we won't put it on Instagram. We'll only send it to our true lovers and fans.
It's true. No, it's fact though. You just got to get real people coming in. Like Daniel mentioned earlier, actually, like I actually taught my first live class in person for the first time like a month and a half ago.
Wow.
And that was coming from somebody that before the pandemic, I used to teach 14 a week.
Yeah.
Wow. That was for years. That was just like, that's just something. And honestly, when I did it, like you said, it was the best feeling ever. I just was like, oh my God. But you know what's really crazy? What's messed up everything? It doesn't pay the same as online. It's less money, like, and more times lost. Going. So now it's a way of trying to find that balance between the two. But my final thought would be, anybody that is listening, anybody that has got involved, is always be, and if you don't feel like you are, be your authentic self, and don't watch what other people are doing. Always focus on who you're trying to be, not what anybody else is doing.
100%.
Great way. Yeah.
I make it
happen.
Make it happen. No, great stuff. Obviously, if you listen to this later, because I will be sharing this on IGTV, and you found this amazing, you want to leave some comments, we'll do our best to answer it. But it will be out tomorrow on my podcast, and it'll be out on YouTube. But for now, I'll let you go. Get back to what you do best. See you later, team. Catch you soon.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy. See ya.
Bye.